In this video, I'm going to explain to you why I think Canada is overrated and why I probably won't return ever again. Many people think that Canada is one of the best countries in the world, and I've come to see it differently. I spent 39 years there, born and raised, and I've experienced a lot of things Canada has to offer. For most of my life, I thought Canada was amazing. It was safe, full of opportunities, and it had a high standard of living. But the truth is now that it's not as perfect as it seems from the outside. And behind the images of a great life lies some challenges that changed my mind over time. I slowly but surely had an urge to leave. So I began to realize that Canada is overrated. Well, in my view, it is. And I decided to move somewhere else. Now, there's some facts about Canada which we all love. Free healthcare is one. Canadians are happy because we feel secure that we have healthcare where if you hurt yourself or you're sick, you walk into a doctor's office or a hospital and you don't come out with a bill. A lot of Americans will stop you there and say, Canadian healthcare is horrible. They'll have all these reasons why. And these things aren't true. Actually, no one has ever come to me with a proper response to why our healthcare is worse than Americans. It's actually a lie by your healthcare providers. They don't want you to know the truth about it. It's a big myth pushed by the insurance companies. Now, the system isn't perfect, but it's a huge relief to know that you have it covered and you won't get denied for anything. Another thing that Canada has is a diverse culture. Now, it's one of the most diverse in the world. As a kid, I went to school with many different people from all over the world, and it gave me a huge appreciation about different cultures and religions and the way the world is. It's not just one way. And it was fascinating to learn about these cultures and traditions and some language. Well, not language because really all I learned was swear words. I don't really remember them now, but that's about it. That's where I started. That exposure at a young age was invaluable. It also showed how big the world was. And I was very, very interested in seeing it. And in a way, it planted the idea that I wanted to explore the world further than just Canada. Another amazing thing about Canada is its nature. Canada's landscapes are breathtaking. From the Rockies to the Great Lakes and anywhere in between, cottages and beaches, and Canada's beautiful. Hiking through mountains, skiing in the winter, or spending summers at a cottage. Those are moments that you'll never forget. And in Canada, there's big cities that have a lot to offer. Cities like Toronto, Vancouver, or Montreal. They can be full of opportunities, diverse food, and exciting things to do. But they also come with the downside of how incredibly expensive they are getting. There's also hockey's in winter. Hockey isn't just a sport, but it's a Canadian identity. Playing on the pond in the winter with friends is made some of the greatest memories in my childhood. And winters can be very beautiful and fun, but they can be long and daunting and isolating and sad. One of the reasons I wanted to leave Canada was its high living costs, especially housing. In 2024, an average house cost $723,000 Canadian. It's a lot of money. And this is the national average. So imagine what it costs in places like Vancouver or Toronto. For many people now, owning a house is just a pipe dream. It's not going to ever come true. And that's a sad fact. Even though I'm not big on home ownership, that's a very sad fact. You know, people should be able to afford homes, which they can't. But that's how the world works and how money works. Canadians are taxed some of the highest taxes in the world. It's a big burden. They're actually ranked number 5 on the list. And it's a big hit to your income when you're working there. While healthcare comes free, there's a long wait. If it's not urgent, there's a long wait at the hospitals. Doctors aren't as bad, but hospitals, if you go to the emergency room, you can wait a long time. I was sick one time and I passed out and cracked my head on the floor. And I waited about 6 hours to get my head stapled, to get it fixed. So even though you don't get a bill, there was a long waits. They can be long. Now, if it's more urgent, you'll get faster care. It is frustrating, but at least I don't have a bill to pay afterward and possibly going into debt. Like I mentioned earlier, winters are tough. They're cold, they're harsh, and they're long. And a lack of sunlight brings pretty much every year for me seasonal depression. It's hard to deal with. I've tried so many different things. For many, that time of the year can be exhausting and very isolating. There's also a stressful lifestyle in Canada. The daily grind can wear you down. There's long commutes a lot of times in bigger cities, high stress, and not enough free time to feel like your life is balanced. And people in Canada aren't as friendly as you all think we are, especially in the bigger cities. It's very hard to make friends in Canada, and it's very disappointing. Usually you can make friends easier with people that are on visas or visiting for school or work. Jobs are also getting harder to find. People are immigrating in the masses to Canada. And in the last few years, over 1 million people per year are coming to Canada. The last 2 years, I was working as an Uber Eats driver in Toronto, and I would ask other Uber Eats drivers and people working at restaurants, where they're from and how long they've been in Canada and if they like Canada. And most of them say they do like Canada, but it's super hard to find a job there. So they're gonna head back home either after their schoolwork or they had a time, like I'm gonna head back home in like 3 months or something like that. They would tell me. So many had the same story. They said it was hard to make ends meet and really hard to find a job. So they all flooded in before any other jobs were made. I mean, people have to come before more jobs are made. And it's really hard for local people from Canada to get jobs and immigrants. Apparently, a lot of the student visas to Canada were faked. So the numbers are skewed. There might be even more people in Canada right now than they say there are. I was an Uber driver on and off, depending if I needed some extra money for 10 years. And the difference in the last 2 years of how hard it is to get any money out of Uber is insane. The people are working for pennies out there. And because there's way too much competition, a driver can't even make a normal wage anymore. They're working way too many hours and it's not right. So here are the reasons why I don't plan to return. Many other countries offer a lower cost of living and a higher quality of life. I moved to Mexico and it's a lot more affordable and it's made my life easier. I've been able to spend more time with my family and not worry as much about bills. The weather in Mexico is way better than Canada. I mean, it's January right now and I forgot about winter. The seasonal affective disorder, the SAD, the depression, doesn't come anymore. It's amazing to wake up in the sunshine every day. There's a stronger sense of community in Mexico. People prioritize relationships more in Mexico than they do in Canada. People spend a lot of time with their loved ones here. There's a vibrant culture here in Mexico. There's a lot of festivals and celebrations that go on all year round. And it makes this place full of life. And it not only improves my quality of life, but also my personal life, my personal goals in life. It's helped me align my life with my values a little bit more just by moving, just by getting outside of the box, just by doing something different. I found a little bit more happiness and more fulfillment than my life in Canada. And moving to a different country made me expand my horizons and actually is one of the reasons why I resurrected my YouTube channel. It kind of pushed me into doing something different. Well, it wasn't different because I've done this in the past, but you know what I mean. Canada isn't perfect. No place is perfect. It has a lot to offer for other people, yes, but it's no longer the right place for me. I'll always have a place in my heart for Canada. I still love Canada and I'm gonna still visit. But moving to Mexico has been one of the best decisions I've ever made. Life is about finding a place where you can thrive, where you feel happy and live the way you want. So if I don't have to go back to Canada, I probably won't. What do you think? I would love to hear your ideas in the comments. Thanks for watching the video. See you in the next one.